Shooting photos up a woman's skirt is legal in Massachusetts, SJC rules. The state's highest court said today that upskirting, the practice of secretly photographing under a woman's skirt, is not prohibited by state law. Of course it isn't. Why would it be? I mean, upskirting is an evolving paradigm. That's all. I mean, what's to stop a man? You want to go on a trolley or a subway or a bus and stick your camera or your cell phone camera up a woman between a woman's leg and take a picture. That's your right. Pervs uber alles in Massachusetts. The Massachusetts SJC said today that a state law intended to prohibit peeping Tom voyeurism of completely or partially undressed women did not apply to people who take pictures of people who are fully clothed. And the unanimous ruling was written by Judge Margot Botsford. You may remember her. She is the wife of former Dukakis Chief Secretary Stephen Rosenfeld, who donated 3 times the legal limit to Deval Patrick's first campaign for governor in 2006. And then shortly thereafter, Margot Botsford, Mrs. Steve Rosenfeld, was appointed as the justice on the SJC. Of course, no charges were ever brought against Stephen Rosenfeld, because how would he know, being a lawyer himself, that it was illegal to donate more than $5,000? A female. This is what Justice Mrs. Stephen Rosenfeld wrote. A female passenger on an MBTA trolley who is wearing a skirt, dress, or the like covering private parts of her body is not a person who is partially nude, no matter what is or is not underneath the skirt by way of underwear or other clothing. Hey, I think I know who. I think we got another entry in the Profiles in Courage Award here.
Yeah, but there's a reason why you don't walk out of the house with just your underwear on. There's a reason why you put a skirt or a dress on top of it. It's because you don't want people to see you in your underwear.
Sandy, you're preaching to the choir here. I'm just pointing out that this makes her one of the favorites for the Profiles in Courage Award. She has stood up for the rights of pervs. You know how they caught this guy? That was the guy that whose arrest led to this case. He was doing this so openly that the trolley riders were calling the MBTA transit police, and so they set up a decoy operation the next day involving a female undercover officer wearing a skirt. And so the same perv was out there, and he did the same damn thing to her. He had a better understanding of the legal system in Massachusetts than most people do, being a perv. He knew they weren't going to do anything to him, so now he's a precedent-setting perv. Someone thinks she's not only up for a Profile in Courage Award, she may be up for the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, she'll have to beat out Vladimir Putin. He was also nominated for that. So, Sandy, what's the poll question, and what are the votes so far?
Should shooting a photo up a woman's skirt be illegal?
Yes.
Yeah, 80%. 20% seem to think it's sport.
20% ride the Green Line trolley, looking with their cell phone cameras. Oh, my God. I can't believe that. 1-87. What if you take a picture of a Muslim woman? Now, that may be illegal. That's a good point. 1-877-469-4322. Has Senator Aqualung been reached for comment? Yes, this is known as the Marzilli decision, even though his name isn't on the isn't involved in the actual complaint. Do I have my Marzilli? Where's my Marzilli music? Marzilli is saying, all I did was go up to a woman and tell her whatever I told her. I wasn't taking pictures of anybody. And the Lowell police chased me into a parking garage and forced me to tell them that I was Representative Marty Walsh. How would you like to be a woman on the T tomorrow? I know. I know. This is just 1-877-469. I always thought when I went to college, I was one of the cool kids, you know? I was one of the guys who was, you know, we were from New England, and you know, we brought our own stuff with us, if you know what I mean. Everybody else was drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon, and we were drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon too, but we were also bringing our stuff with us because we were cool kids. We were the rebels. And now I feel like an old fogey. I don't think I changed that much. Everything changed, though. What happened? What has happened to this country? These are all perv calls? Okay, we'll do some perv calls. What the heck? 1-877-469-4322. Jen, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jen.
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
Hi. I think this is hilarious. Is it going to be legal for these women who have these skirt-peeping pervs looking and taking pictures of their skirt to throat punch him too?
You know, that's a good point. I mean, do you have? Yeah, I mean, I thought the free speech rights ended at the tip of another person's nose. I don't know if that's a court decision or just sort of common sense, but you know. What would Margot Botsford think if somebody started shooting pictures of her crotch when she was on the tee?
Howie, who would want to?
Yeah, well, you got a point there, Jen. That's I guess that's the ultimate point. Yes.
But you know, it's just incredulous to me that this kind of behavior is not just condoned and put up with. With this kind of decision, it's actually encouraged.
Jen, the ruling was unanimous. I mean, there are a couple of alleged conservatives on that court.
I would say not.
Thanks for the call, Jen. 1-877-469-4322. The SJC is putting the T&A back on the T. Russ, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Russ.
Hey, Howie, I got three things to say here. First of all, will this be written in the guide when you come to Massachusetts as a right that you have when you come here?
Welcome to Massachusetts, the only state in America where upskirting is legal.
Unbelievable. You know, Howard, the other thing I want to know is that is the judge's maiden name Marzilli? And Howie, I got one more, okay? You know, what's the difference between a bum begging for money and Obama fundraising?
What is?
The amount.
You know, he didn't get many people to show up, though. I mean, I know it's a kind of a hefty tab, $25,000, but he only got 32 people to show up. I mean, that's not too great. And plus, not one single candidate for Democrat candidate for governor is going to take the opportunity to be photographed with him. That tells you something, Russ.
The main thing that they have in common is they both blow the money.
Thank you, Russ. 1-877-469-4322. Next, these women will be hit with indecent exposure depending on what the pervs happen to see. 1-877-469-4322. Is this part of the war on women? You know, that's a good thing. I mean, could Alan Grayson be reached for comment? Could Carlos Enriquez be reached for comment? Could former Mayor Filner be reached for comment? Could Carlos Danger be reached for comment? Elliot Spitzer? Mel Reynolds? All staunch combat veterans of the war on women. Bill, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Howie, I agree with you. Am I supposed to be secure in my personal effects and paper underwear? If I wear paper ones, then I should be secure with that.
Bill, I just thought of something else. I mean, if this is, I guess it's okay to take pictures of little girls too on the subway, right? I mean, what's the difference? I mean, as long as they're dressed. I mean, you know what? Who is to say? I mean, if somebody is, what is the age of consent when there is no consent involved? Right? There is no age of consent.
Well, can you take a picture of a crowd? Maybe we could get them all, Get them all at the swimming pool. Let's go.
Thanks for the call, Bill. 1-877-469-4322. 1-877-469-4322. Some people bring binoculars to the beach, you know. But at the beach, you know, and they say what are you looking at? Says the wife, the little woman. Seagulls, says the dirty old man. But at the beach, women purposefully dress skimpily. And I mean, and if you're not dressed skimpily, the guys are going to be looking at the women who are dressed skimpily. When you're on the tee, not many people ride the tee for fun, right? You know, nobody says, you know, let's go. It's Sunday afternoon. Let's go for a ride on the green line. No, you're on the tee because you're going to work, or you're going to some business appointment. And now they've basically okayed it until the legislature gets around to passing some bill, which of course will be immediately challenged in court by the American Civil Liberties Union. You know, this is going to be okay. It's going to be okay to take pictures up women's skirts. It's no problem. It's free. It's freedom of speech. Don't you understand? It's the First Amendment. Arthur, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Arthur.
Well, it's just another example of things looking up for the Democrats.
Do you think this guy Robertson was a Democrat who did? I'm gonna bet he voted for Obama.
Of course. I mean, if it's a unanimous decision, I don't know what are these people smoking the medical marijuana already? I mean, you know, every you just shake your head and shake your head that it seems like the most worst behavior is totally condoned by these people, and you know, it sets a great example for the kids.
Right. I mean, how would you forget about being a woman on the tee? What about being a kid on the tee? You know, you're a little child with a mother or you know your aunt or your teacher or something, and you're on the tee and you suddenly see this guy is shooting up women's skirts. And the cops can't. Nobody does it. Nobody is going to be able to do anything about it now.
Remember what I said to you. We're in the age of insanity. It's this. First of all, this is against the law. How can it become the law if it was against the law all this time?
Well, they're claiming that the law wasn't written concisely enough, that it doesn't ban people, that they're not unclothed, and so therefore the peeping Tom statute only covers women or anybody who is unclothed. That's what they're saying.
Oh, okay. So did they have they been on the street up at the? By the way, thanks for saving Channel 25 this week. The station finally became watchable for morning news with you on it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. VB's good too, but I appreciate
it. It would make
it.
a great move if they turned and put you on there permanently if you wanted to go.
Oh, I don't want to take VB's job, but I'm not going to take VB. I wouldn't.
Well, you know what? Well, maybe you can take the place of those other two clowns with the beards that they bring on every day. That you know, it's when you
Kadzis and Massaro. He was talking about nut jobs. Kadzis, I get along with Kadzis, but I couldn't believe the other day he said if you're against global warming, you're a nut job. A nut job? Okay, thanks, Arthur. 1-877-469-4322. Now, here's a really good point. So we paid for everything for the Joker, but his privacy is tantamount. We can't see his welfare payments or his grades at UMass Dartmouth. However, looking under someone's skirt is just dandy. Yeah. We can't find out anything about the DCF, the Department of Children and Families, because everything is privacy, covered under the privacy laws. But if you want to ride on the tee, you can have the picture can be taken up under your skirt. 1-877-469-4322. I'm Howie Carr. One 877-469-4322. 1-877-469-4322. As you know, Barry is in town. Hartford, that's close enough. He flew into Hartford for the sole reason of delivering a stump speech so that he can then come up here to Boston and raise less than $1 million probably, but still, it's considering his favorability numbers, I guess that's okay. So he goes to Connecticut so he can deliver the stump speech, and that's business. So the Democratic National Committee doesn't get charged $2 million an hour or whatever it is for the use of Air Force One. So he's in Hartford, and guess what's happening in Hartford? Todd, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Todd.
Howie, they should stop talking about Bridgegate with Christie. I sat in 45 minutes. They had the traffic completely dead stopped. All the entrances to I-91 North were completely closed all the way around Hartford. Mm-hmm. There was no way to get around. I sat there for 45 minutes so that this blowhard can drive from Hartford up to Boston. I mean,
right.
Isn't there any way he could have hopped in a helicopter or something like that? I mean,
how about just taking not pretending that he's on official duties and just flying straight into Boston, right? How about that?
Something like that. I mean, I drive back and forth to Danbury, Connecticut every day, and the ride's long enough. I live in Western Mass, and I mean, I just sat for 45 minutes just so that this idiot can
write off his expenses. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What a pain in the ass.
I know. We'll remember in November, Todd. That's all I can say.
Exactly.
Thanks. 1-877. It's so commonplace though now. I mean, I've been stuck in traffic in Boston and New York. It's happened though. Now it's going to be tonight. I mean, South Boston is going to be impassable tonight because it's not going to be. Thank God I'm at Brighton. He's going to be in Cambridge. That'll be all screwed up because that's where the first fundraiser is. Then he's coming over to South Boston for something called the Arts for Humanity. I don't know what the hell that is. I'm personally a member of the Arts for Inhumanity, but that's where he's going to be in the quote unquote Seaport district. So that's going to be all screwed up to a fare thee well. So this is Hartford first, then Cambridge, then Boston. Bill, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Howie, calm down. I'm sure you were getting a lot of important work done in the back of the limo on the way up here. I mean, he was solving Ukraine. He was solving Iran. I mean, you know how talented he is. He could probably figure it up in the hour ride up here.
Yeah, did you hear what the Iranian general said? They asked him about Obama saying all the options were on the table, and he said, "This is the joke of the year from America's low IQ president."
Yeah, well,
there's a guy who follows the news.
Right. Not only that, the mullah must have told him what to say. I mean, that's unbelievable. By the way, how Massachusetts now, are we filming the first DVD of Pervs Gone Wild? There's
a show for the Monkey Business Channel.
I know. I mean,
Pervs Gone Wild.
And the thing is, Howie, you know how bad the tea is. All this, you and me, unfortunately, have lived in eastern Massachusetts for the better part of our lives. I mean, between delays, switching problems, the price of it, the price of commuter rail parking, only to mention, only because of you, I knew that your property taxes,
bailing it out,
Right, they take money out of that for the great commuter rail service, which is broken down half the time. And then you have to deal with this, too. You have to have pervs being able to legally do this kind of stuff. I'm like, why would anyone? It's not even a bargain, Howie, when you park your car for $4 every day, and then you have to pay all the money. And then, by the way, Howie, the inconvenience. Like, imagine if you had something important to go to, and you're counting on the T to get you there on time.
Yeah. I know, and then on top of everything, I mean, taking the T it's always a roll of the dice. You're right about that, but then on top of everything else, you got this to deal with now. That somebody can come up to you and just do whatever they, Someone just sent me a fax here, Don in Stoughton. You remember this cop, this guy down in Abington, Michael Hyde. The SJC ruled that capturing the same court. The SJC ruled that capturing audio of cops who were talking to Michael Hyde in Abington was an illegal wiretap. He was charged and convicted of wiretapping as he recorded the cops harassing him and falsely accusing him.
Howie, these are august members of the legal profession. Don't forget that. By the way, what's Monty Walsh's? He's so hemming and hawing on the St. Patrick's Day parade about. He's such a talk about a wimp on parade. He's so worried about the backlash from.
I know. Mumbles. You had the right idea. He just ignored the parade totally. Bill, that was the way to handle the parade. This is the first mistake of Walsh's tenure as mayor, was getting involved in this quagmire. There's no winning in this case. The only thing Mumbles did that was wrong was shutting down the saloons on St. Patrick's Day which again, I understand the theory behind it, but if you're not going to shut down the saloons on Caribbean Day parade, you shouldn't be shutting them down on St. Patrick's Day parade either. 1-877-469-4322. I'm Howie Carr.